Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of FireCore Fantasies, The Legend of Zelda, the Wind Waker.
Yes.
Today, we are sailing through a rainstorm.
Yep. Again.
Which is pretty sad. But this actually gives me a perfect opportunity to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about. Today, I want to talk about comfort zones. Just because I think it's pretty relevant in my life right now. I don't know about you.
Pretty relevant, I'd say, I guess.
So I just want to take a little bit of time. This episode might be a little longer just because, I want to make sure I get the point across and everything. And, so I find, not only with myself, but with, other people around me too, my friends, my family, I've come to realize that people get stuck in comfort zones. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy or comfortable in their comfort zones.
No.
People become like complacent. But I just like to use the word comfort zone to kind of describe these this routine that people get in, these set of habits that they get in. And, I know for a while, this was younger. This was like 4 years ago when I was younger. Like, I was very overweight. I would come home from school every day. I would open up a 2-pound bag of Tyson chicken nuggets, throw it in the oven, and eat the entire thing. I would just sit on the couch and play video games and not really do anything. I wouldn't really hang out with my friends or anything, And, that was me stuck in a routine. That was me stuck in a comfort zone. I wanted to get in shape and get out and do stuff, but I also wanted to sit down and eat food all day and lay on the couch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was stuck in a comfort zone. And, it wasn't until that one day that I went out to the track with my brother and I just ran and I failed miserably. I threw up and I got halfway up the track, but, I took that first step and, shortly after that, the next step that I had to take, became apparent to me, and the next step, and, I started to keep running, and I started to lose the weight, and, I won't go, fully in depth with that story, but I'll use it as an example, but, breaking out of that comfort zone and taking that first step is the biggest thing. It's the hardest thing.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a couple of other examples that I want to talk about. One of them I'll stay away from just because I want to keep that separate. But, even starting this channel up for me, and, I don't know if this is the same for you, but, or Adrian, but, I had been wanting to do this for a long time. Over 2 years ago, I can think back, sitting in the back of the Jeep with my buddy Eddie, talking about how I wanted to start doing this. I'm and, Eddie was going off to California. I'm I need to find someone I can do it with, because I definitely wanted, I knew I wanted it to be, a community thing.
Yeah.
And, I'm I don't know how the audio equipment works. I don't know how the capturing stuff works. I don't know how to do it. I don't have the money to save up, to buy the stuff. I was just so intimidated by, the idea of doing it and, all the things that I had to, get and learn how to do the show. And it, I sat there for over 2 years and didn't make a move, And finally one day, I just, talked to Adrian, set the shit up. I'm you know what? No. I don't care. I'm just gonna do it. You know what I mean? I really did. I had to break out of the comfort zone, and I just had to do it.
Oh.
And, sure, it wasn't even, watching the channel right now to when we first started, it's completely different.
Oh, yeah.
You know
definitely.
what I mean? And we've only been going for a couple months, but, deciding to yourself, I know it's not going to be good at first,
Yeah.
That should be no reason to hold you back, because, you're not going to do anything the first time and have it be perfect, And that shouldn't be a reason for you not to do it. But, taking that first step can be hard, but I think you need to weigh your options about, what you want more,
Yeah.
For a long time, I wanted to sit and eat food and lay on the couch more than I wanted to be in shape.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if do you have any like personal stories?
I mean, definitely. This whole channel is a huge example, but like, even when it comes to Starbucks, when I started there, it's so crazy because I'll talk to people like Ash, who is one of our old coworkers, and people like even Dan and
all friends of
all
ours.
personal friends. And
sorry, I'm moving the mic here.
Ash constantly tells me, like, if you just step back for a second, it's so clear how far you've come. Because, like, when I started at Starbucks almost 2 years ago now, I wouldn't talk. I would go in, do my job. I had, like, regular panic attacks because I have very high anxiety. Before I went into work every day, it was, like, a regular mental breakdown because I could not, like, mentally deal with having to go to this new job after my entire, like, I had become very settled in my old job, so the very idea of change freaked me out and I couldn't deal with it. And it was a constant, like, couldn't breathe, going to throw up, awful whatever. I have to go see my grandma. Okay.
Can't believe my grandma became my grandpa.
Can't deal with her right now. I'm just trying to get the gems. But like, now I have regular relationships with a Dodger.
That's the dog. Pause the episode.
Hang on.
Sorry about that, FireCore fans. Dog started barking.
Yeah, it's our bad.
Sorry. Where do we live off?
Oh, well, I don't know. We were talking about Starbucks, but like, or me in Starbucks.
Comfort zones.
Yeah, comfort zones.
You not wanting to leave that first job.
Yeah, and that was like a huge thing for me. Grandma.
But that helped you grow as a person too, not just getting a new job.
No, absolutely. Like, I'm totally different as a person than where I was then. Like, then I was very complacent, as you said initially. Like, I was going to school to be a teacher at that point, which I no longer am, if that's not abundantly clear. I'm still going for English, but like, I basically said fuck it to the whole teaching thing and said that I was going to go in and start writing, and that's totally played a huge part into my whole wanting to write a video game. I've got into a bunch of different stuff. Like, I made a lot of friends and I started socializing, and I'm not afraid to go see people outside of work anymore, which is huge for me because that was like a big thing when I first started. Like, I was afraid to socialize with people. So a lot of it came because I pushed myself outside of my comfort zone.
Exactly. That's, and like, you know, it like, you know, and that must have been very hard for you.
Oh,
doing
absolutely.
That. Like, you know, and like, I can think back, like, to me running, like, it literally took me 6 months to get to the point where I was like comfortable to go out and run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that took me another 12 months just to get better, like, you know, just to start getting better to it and stuff. But like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? You have to be willing. I don't know. This is something that I learned. You know, that you have to be willing to sacrifice who you are now, you know, for who you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you have to know that it's going to take time and that it's going to take effort and that it's going to be difficult. You know what I mean? I mean, anything worth it in life is going to be difficult.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But you really do. You have to. Good job for blowing that gate down.
High
five.
Sometimes you just gotta destroy things that you love.
I actually remember I was like driving home one day and my mom and I were like having a fight in the car, and we like pulled in the driveway. We were both so pissed off that like we just like parked the car in the driveway, got out. I got like these hedge trimmers and like a chainsaw, and we just like chopped down these 3 bushes that were next to our driveway. And my mom just like sat there and leaned up against the cars. I aggressively just fucking like went at the bushes and hacked them away. And it was just so satisfying. And then after the 2 of us, I just put the chainsaw down. We look at each other. We're like, we just like, we're like, that's what we needed. Like, no, but yeah, you know, like, you know, and yeah, I really do want to spend like a minute or two emphasizing that it is going to be difficult. And
oh yeah, no, it's hard.
but
it's really hard.
It is, but you have to keep telling, you have to have that vision, and I'm not one for kind of living in the future or the past. I like to be present in the moment.
Yeah.
But if anything, you need to, it's not a bad thing to invest a little bit of space into thinking about your future. But I don't want that to be confused with worrying about the future, stressing about the future. What you should do is have your vision of the future. Know that, like for me, like my vision that I know. And when I do think about the future, this is what I think about. I know that I want to live out in Glendale, California. I know that I want to have my office out there and like do all my work for this channel and all that out there. It's not like, what am I going to do like next week or like in 3 years I want to be here. It's just like, no, that's my vision. That's my future. That's when I think about the future. That's what I think about. I have my vision. There's no worrying or stressing involved because I know that that's what I want and that's what I'm going to work towards.
Yeah.
And that gives me peace of mind, kind of, because I don't get stressed and worried about the future anymore, what's to come, because I know what I want to come, and I know what I know like the steps to get there, and I'm going to take initiative today, focus on today, to get me to where I want to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
you really have to take that initiative. Like, no one's gonna do it for you.
Exactly. No one's gonna start this channel. No one's gonna start running. No one's gonna transfer jobs for you. Yeah. So it's very important. And just like knowing that it's gonna be hard and preparing yourself for that. Getting ready. But just know that if you quit or you decide to stop or you decide not to work or not to take that first step, that pain's going to last forever. You're going to be complacent forever. You're going to be stuck where you are. You're not going to change.
Or even worse, you're going to be sitting around wondering what could have happened if you had done whatever else.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing that I've found that drives me to do things is like I get very hung up on what if I had done this? What if I had done that? Like, you shouldn't get hung up on it. You shouldn't have to like constantly think in that frame of mind. Like, definitely make your decisions and stick by them. But if you're too afraid to make a choice, I guess, or to participate or try something new or do whatever it is, you're gonna miss out on a lot of really cool stuff. I was really afraid the first time we like went bowling with a bunch of people because I like freaked out about it. I was just like, I don't like being in social situations. And we had a blast, and I threw the ball backwards at the people that we were bowling with, but it was great. Like, it was fine. You very much learn to like get out of your comfort zone and then adapt. And it's very hard. Like, I know, because like I have very high anxiety. Like I am diagnosed with it, whatever. Like, for some people it's a mental block, not just a physical thing. And like taking the time to try to work around that and to like within yourself is huge, and it really does, like it's the most satisfying feeling when you're able to kind of get around it.
And yes, and one thing I want to add on to that is I've met a lot of people who say to me, I'm diagnosed with anxiety, I'm diagnosed with ADD, I'm diagnosed with ADHD. That enables me to do what I want to do. It stops me from doing that. And I don't... That's one of my pet peeves. That's one thing that I cannot stand. I was actually diagnosed with ADD. I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. I never paid any mind to any of that because I think it's all bullcrap. You know what I mean? I know that, like, if you look at my, you look at my Lacey drive with our storage files on it, it's like completely organized and like all labeled out and all that, and like super like in order. I know that I have like huge bursts of energy, but for me it was like, and I was put on medicine when I was younger and stuff, but my mom kind of led me away from that, and I'm very thankful for her for doing that, because I learned the ability of, I learned to self-control myself. That's a timer going off. 1 second, FireCore, we'll be right back. Sorry about that, FireCore fans. I know we've interrupted this episode twice. Just have a lot going on in the studio, in the office space, in my living room. Just kidding. So, what was I talking about? Shit.
You were talking about how you were diagnosed with ADD and OCD.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, so they told me that I had those things. I decided that I wasn't going to view that as a disability or as like something that limited me. I decided that I was going to learn to use those things to my advantage, and that I was going to channel that energy and focus it. And even that was like, that took a lot of effort. That was a big step, and it took me a long time. But like now, like, I can take that energy that I have and I can decide what I channel it into. And for me, I channel it into being positive and focusing on right now and putting effort into the things that I want to put effort into, like editing this channel or, going for bike rides and going for runs and stuff. And, I don't think that anyone really is like limited. I don't know. I mean, different circumstances are different with people, but I think a majority of people, if they just like put in the effort, put in the time, took those steps, got out of their comfort zones, like, you know what I mean? Like, invested time and energy into themselves and, into disciplining themselves and not taking no for an answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think anyone can learn. But yeah, people just get comfortable, they accept things the way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I definitely agree, because I'm guilty of doing the same thing. Like I think I was comfortable with a certain idea of myself my entire life. Like, I was very much told from the time that I was very young, because I had a high reading level, that I was a bookworm and that I loved reading, and that like that was impressed upon me. And as I've gone to college and studied, I've realized, like, I don't like reading that much. Like, I like it. I enjoy reading. I enjoy stories. But, like, I don't go out of my way anymore to just sit down and read. Like, I have other stuff to do. And if I loved it that much, the way some of my other English major friends do, I would sit down and read an entire book in a day. But I just don't anymore. And it's like this sort of perfect version of yourself that other people make of you, or that
First,
you...
sorry, can I just point out the fact that these seagulls are like loitering around your sail and like following you?
Runs in the family, I guess.
And they're gone. And they're gone.
Goodbye. Yeah, it's more of like a... You can accept the way that you want to see yourself, or you can go out of the way and actually do what you want to do. So, like, I'm 3 years into an English degree. I'm gonna finish it, but then I'm planning on going back to school for game design, because that's what I'm passionate about. That, like, Andy, Jackal, and both of us had a 3-hour-long Skype call or whatever, 2 hours, whatever it was, and we just sat and talked about why you're passionate about certain aspects of video games, and it just, like, I was able to ramble on for 10 minutes about it. Like, it makes sense to me. So that's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's what you guys should do. Like, you if you're passionate about something, if you love something, I know the circumstances aren't always easy, but
that's no excuse.
But try, because
you know what I mean?
It's worth it to try.
It is. And if you never try, you never know what could be.
Exactly.
So that's why, FireCore fans, we encourage you to break out of your comfort zones. Try something new that makes you uncomfortable. Try something that puts you in a position where you get nervous or you're shaky. Or I just recently, I'm not going to say it on the show. I plan on delivering it separately, but I will say that I just made a huge life decision. In this past week, a huge life decision, and you'll all find out what that is eventually, but I just made a huge life decision, and the idea of it, not as much, but it does make me a little nervous, and it makes me a little shaky, and it's like, wow, this is crazy, am I actually doing this? Like, but sometimes in life, those are the decisions, like the ones that make you cringe, the ones that make your back tingle, your stomach drops. Those are the things you need to go for in life, because the bigger the struggle, the bigger the reward, the more effort you put in, the more steps that you take, the more you're going to get out of life in general, anything. So I encourage you guys, pick something that you're not comfortable with, if there's something that if there's a routine you want to break out of, a comfort zone that you want to get out of, take that first step. Do it today, you know? For me, like, before I really got into running, just like going out, I just went out and bought a pair of running shoes. And I would just put them on and walk around the house. Like, even that was a big step for me. Just going out and doing it and buying those running shoes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, just do something today that's going to get you to where you want to be tomorrow, you know? Take that first step. Put yourself out of your comfort zone. Get out there. You know? You never know what happens. You never know. You're never going to know what happens, you know? And you're especially never going to know if you don't do it. So, I don't know. We're almost at 20 minutes. This is a long episode, so I'm going to keep... We've already, like, stopped twice, but... Yeah. That's all I want to say is, you know, recognize that comfort zone you're in and take that first step to get out of it. It's not going to happen overnight, you know? It's going to take time. It's going to take effort, but just do it, FireCore fandom.
Do it. Do what you love, and like it's going to be hard, but you gotta try for it, guys. Like, I'm not making the huge life decision you are, but like maybe at some point I will, because maybe I'm not there yet financially in the place where I can do something like that, but it's big and it's huge and it's really exciting, and I can't wait for you to post up that video about it.
All right, guys, we're going to end this episode, but yeah, I'm going to keep it short and simple. Break out your comfort zones, guys. Do something today. Take that first step. I love you all. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day.
See you next time, guys.